All right. I just want to come on this morning and thank Dave Mack for having me on his channel again. I was on his channel back in December, about 9 months ago. Uh, it was like 2 or 3.5 months into my carnivore way of eating. And he had me on as a guest back then. I was just on again the other day. We did an interview, and he has just released this here. So I'm going to play that now with you guys. Again, thanks to Dave. I appreciate everything that he's done for the carnivore community. It's a great guy, and hope you enjoy this.
Lance, how did you find Carnivore?
Well, it's been a long story on that one. I was actually just, watching TikTok videos, and I came across a gentleman doing a TikTok video loss that he had and improvements in his health, eating an all meat diet, and it got me curious and got me going down a rabbit hole. I spent uh, a good 2.5 months on YouTube and Google searching different stuff about carnivore, going through the carnivore doctors, um, a bunch of different videos. I spent a lot of hours watching and listening to the doctors that are uh, advocating this diet. And finally, one day, um, when I'd go to work, my wife would make me egg bites for breakfast, sausage or a ham slice with an egg or and cheese inside of a muffin tin. So I'd bring a couple of those to work with me. And one day I didn't have anything that I wanted to bring for lunch, and I called her just before lunchtime and asked her to pick me up 4 quarter pound patties from McDonald's, and that's how I started my carnivore diet. But I I found Carnivore Ray on TikTok. He was such a great influence, and uh, he's got such a great personality. It's just amazing, just the way his whole stick is. The way he does it is just amazing. And following him, and then like Dr. Barry, Dr. Chafee, uh, Dr. Hampton, doing this for years. And this is what they're doing for their own health. And they've had the same health issues that I had. Um, Back in December of 2023, that was before I actually heard anything about this. I was 347 pounds. I was on 5 blood pressure medications, and my blood pressure wasn't getting any better.
So 5 blood pressure medications.
Yeah.
Wow.
And my blood pressure still wasn't in what they would consider to be a normal range. It still was considered high. Um, I'd been trying to lose weight. There's nothing I was doing that was helping me at all. I just kept getting bigger, and I'd seen a doctor. She gave me a prescription for something that was supposed to suppress my appetite to help me lose weight. And in the 8 months I took that, I lost a total of 12 pounds in 8 months.
Did you
And
feel like it was working as far as stopping you wanting to eat, or?
no, not really. If for me to lose any weight, even when I was trying to cut calories and taking that medication, it was just I was always hungry. It was always everything was standard American diet, carbohydrates, plants. It just wasn't working for me, and I just kept getting bigger. Um, then I saw that video by Carnivore Ray, and it was August 22nd of 2024 when I started the carnivore diet, and I kind of had a feeling that day I was going to start doing it for sure. And I actually took my weight, and I was 340 or 335 pounds on August 22nd.
But this was quarter pound a day?
Yeah, this was quarter pounder day. I like that. Quarter pounder day. That was actually one of the videos I saw from Carnivore Ray too. Is he would have quarter pounders and just the patty, and I was like, that's perfect.
Yeah, McDonald's in Japan doesn't sell those anymore, but in the past, when they did, I always found those super satiating. If you're
Yeah,
out anywhere, just grabbing a quarter pounder patty, eat that, you won't feel hungry
yeah.
for a long time.
I know my wife thought I was a little crazy when I told her I didn't want her to pick me up.
So you started that day. When you after you had those patties for lunch, did you feel hungry again for the in the evening or?
Not really. I still ate that night, but if I remember right, it was just I grabbed a steak from the store on the way home, and it wasn't a big steak, but it was enough. It kept me full, and then after that, I had breakfast. I was eating 2 meals a day for quite a while until probably December. But I'd have a breakfast and I'd have my dinner. Breakfast would be 6 to 8 eggs and half a pound of some type of meat, whether it was bacon, sausage, ground beef, a steak, or something. And then dinner was generally about a pound of uh, red meat, ground beef, or steak, or chuck roast, or something like that. And then December, I started doing a lot of OMAD, just 1 meal a day. Uh, Generally, probably about a pound and a half to 2 pounds of meat at night. And I did that up until probably mid March.
Right. So, what kept you motivated for all this time? Was it just
No,
that you were satiated, or did you notice changes early on?
I noticed changes right away. One of the first things I noticed was uh, the lessening of the aches and pains of I always associated with getting old. My shoulders, my neck, my feet, uh, just they didn't hurt as much anymore. And when I woke up in the morning, I was awake. I was well rested. I was ready to go. I didn't dread getting out of bed. And then as I was starting on this here now, the first couple of weeks, there's a whole bunch of things that just improved. I mean, my I stopped snoring. My wife told me that she was actually really impressed within the first week I stopped snoring. Um, I also started getting off my blood pressure medications shortly after doing this because the first time I got a little lightheaded. I generally had a blood pressure cuff in my bag that I brought to work and stuff, and for whatever reason, I didn't have it in my bag. The next day, I brought it, and I got up and I started getting lightheaded. I sat down, took my blood pressure. My blood pressure was low. And I said, "All right, well, I was taking 5 different medications for my blood pressure. So there was one of them I took at night. It was a low dose. I stopped taking that one, and I did that again. It was wasn't that much longer after that. I got lightheaded again. I checked the blood pressure, and it was all right. Well, cut out one of them on the days that I took until I got down to the last two, which were a maximum dose for the medicines I was taking. And I actually went to my doctor and I explained to her what I was doing and what happened with the other ones, and I wanted to get rid of one of them. And it took a little convincing for her to agree to it, but she did. And it wasn't about another week or a week and a half, and off of all 5 of my blood pressure medicines in the first 6 weeks of carnivore.
That's fantastic. In 6 weeks, these
Yes.
are medications that you have been unable to get off for
Yeah.
years.
I'd only been on them for about just over 4 years at that point, but the, I never had issues with my blood pressure up until that point. And all of a sudden, it was way out of control. My blood pressure to begin with, uh, back in 2020, was in the 200s over the 100s. when I found out I had high blood pressure, and so getting put on medication is not something I wanted. I don't like taking medications to begin with. So, but it was, first 6 weeks and I'm off of medication. I'm like, that's awesome. And in that time, I'd lost, a few pounds, 10, 15 pounds or whatever it was. And it just, everything, the way I felt, everything was just so much nicer. I mean, my wife noticed my mood was improved. I was a lot easier to get along with. I had more patience with my grandkids and with my kids, and uh, I had more patience with people at work. So it was it's a
It's
great way to be motivated is to be happy.
yeah, that's fantastic. And look, I've got to say, um, we spoke in, I guess, December.
Yep,
Yeah. So that's 9 months ago now. Um, you've changed a lot in 9 months. Can you
I
talk
have.
a little bit about that?
Well, I don't know. The last time I talked to you, I was growing a bit of a beard, but you could still see my face was still pretty round. I had quite a lot of fat on my face, and this is what I'm more used to seeing is what I am now. But back in 2023 and 2022, my face was just huge. I mean, it was literally looked like a ball. Um, I've lost up to now. I've lost up to 111 pounds on the carnivore diet, and I actually stopped losing weight back in end of March and into April. I introduced dairy into my diet, cheeses, heavy creams to slow my weight loss down. I actually did that. Uh, I thought 111 pounds in 6 or 8 months was too much for me to lose at one time. I had heart surgery back in 2017 after a big weight loss. I didn't want to have to go through anything like that again. So I've actually maintained the 111 pounds for the last 4 months.
Right. And you're comfortable at this level,
Yeah.
and you've got lots of energy and stuff?
Oh, absolutely. The last time we talked, I had just reached my goal weight of 275 pounds at that time. Um, down from 5 pounds, huge difference, huge different feeling for my whole body and stuff. Since then, I've gone down to 224 pounds, and I've sat around 224. You gain weight and you lose weight throughout the week and everything. So 224 seems to be where my body has settled. Give or take a few pounds, and I'm happy where I'm at right now. I do have more weight I want to lose, but I want to lose it a little bit slower than what I was doing. Where I
Uh,
was losing probably over half a pound a day.
yeah. It's kind of one of those things that gets to a point where you feel like it's not that important to me anymore. All the other things are what's important. The feeling good part is the
Yeah.
important thing, right?
And I didn't really do carnivore for the weight loss. I did it for the blood pressure and for the health. The weight loss is a benefit. Um, so going from an obese, I think my BMI at that time was 43. It's huge, and now I'm down in the 20s again. So I'm I'm good with that.
And sorry, how tall are you?
6'3".
So your wife thought you were crazy to start with,
Yeah.
but I guess that once you stopped snoring, she probably thought, "Oh, maybe it's not so crazy after all." But how
No,
how does she feel now?
actually, she is 99.9% carnivore. She still likes some uh, uh, sweet stuff every now and then. That's not animal products. Some plants sometimes, but she has reversed her type 2 diabetes. She was type 2 diabetic, she's got an amazing story. If I could just convince her to talk about it. um, September last year, she had her blood work done, and her A1C was a 15. Yeah, she was at a 15 a year ago. Her fasting glucose was over 500, and she felt fine. And that's, I'd already been doing carnivore for a few weeks when she had those tests done. She needed dental work done, and her dentist wouldn't do the work until her A1C was coming down. And she tried a bunch of different things. Um, Probably right after Thanksgiving, she started eating strictly, like, by the first week of January, her A1C was an 8.7. And from that, her dentist would do the dental work that she needed, because his opinion was that her A1C wouldn't come down anymore until she got her teeth fixed. So yeah,
Wow.
and she wears a continuous glucose monitor. In the last uh, 8-9 months, her blood sugars have been averaging in the low 100s to 90s.
That's
So
awesome. That's fantastic.
yeah, it's amazing what she has done. And she, I think she might have lost maybe 10 pounds the whole time, but she didn't have weight to lose.
Eh,
So
Yeah. Wow. And you know, it's so nice to discover this, and especially to discover this as a couple,
it is.
when you spend your whole life thinking, oh well, I guess I'm just unhealthy, I picked the short straw in the genetic lottery, this is my lot in life, right?
Right. And, for ever since I can remember, from school and everything they've taught us about nutrition has been everything is wrong. And there's nothing that they taught us about nutrition that's accurate. And, you know, eating a standard American diet, I did years of uh, extreme cardio workouts to lose weight. And at one point, I was down to 212 pounds, and that's when I had heart issues. And I having to have heart surgery. Had I known back this diet, and that's actually a way of life, had I known back then, I probably wouldn't have had that issues. I wouldn't have been that big. I wouldn't have had to work out that much to be able to get into a better state of health. But right now, I mean, I I have so much more energy, such a better outlook on life. It's just amazing what this does, and it's all with nutrition. You
Right.
know,
Yeah, it's like that's the other thing, we feel like it's got to be complicated. If we're going to be healthy, it's got to be complicated. We have to work hard. And that's why you do the extreme exercise, right? Because if you think, if
right,
I'm not suffering, I'm not going to get better, because that's how life is, right? If you want to start a business, you got to suffer long nights and all that kind of thing, right? So of course,
right.
if you want to get healthy, you got to suffer some way as well. And it doesn't need to be that way.
No, you just have to eat a steak. Eat a steak, eat ground beef. Eat the animal fat that your body is supposed to be eating, and you'll get healthy. Eat meat, be happy. That's all you got to be. And it's actually that simple.
Yeah, it's so simple. Like, when you said before that they're telling us the completely wrong thing, it's almost like we're standing there, we're looking at the directions. There's a sign on the wall that says way out, and there's someone standing in front of the sign going, no, 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 turn around, go the other way. And it's
Right.
like, that's been our life.
And it really is frustrating, because you see people today, and you look around at people when you're out and doing stuff, and you see so many people that are metabolically unhealthy, and you just want to go up and shake them and say, "This is what you need," but you can't because people think you're crazy because
Then
all
you're
you
the
eat meat.
crazy person, right?
Right. I'm the crazy person, but I'm the person that has lost 111 pounds eating what I want and eating as much as I want. And I'm healthy. I've gotten off of my blood pressure medications. I don't have my allergy meds anymore because my allergies are gone. You know, I don't have pain anymore. I wake up in the morning pain free. I wake up in the morning and I'm ready to go to work. It's just amazing.
And are you still doing OMAD?
You know, sometimes I do OMAD, sometimes I do TUMAD. Um, it all depends. I listen to my body. If I'm hungry, then I'll eat breakfast. If I'm not hungry, then I'll skip breakfast and just have my one meal.
Hmm.
Um, so some days, I don't know why. I don't know if it's just what my body wants. Then I try to listen to it and try to do uh, what's my body's calling for. Um,
Yeah.
I've done actually a lot of fasting in the last 9 months too. I've done everywhere from 2 day, 48-hour fast to 5 day, 5.5 day fast. So 132 hours is the longest I've gone so far. But just the fasting, and I think it's helped me tremendously. I've got a skin condition on my hand that is probably 75% cleared up since starting this year, and I've had this on my hand for 25 years.
Is that like a dermatitis or an eczema or something?
Well, yeah, you can see the difference in the skin color. This whole hand looked like that,
Oh,
and
that's vitiligo. No?
it used to be like scaly, and it used to terribly. I've seen a couple of doctors, and they never really said what it was. They tried giving me a steroid cream that didn't do anything. They just said it's
They're so good at handing out steroid creams.
yeah,
I don't know what it is. Have this cream.
right. And then it was probably 6 months into it. I noticed one day that my hand wasn't itching, and it looked a lot better. And getting sunlight on it this summer made a huge difference and improved it a lot. But it seems like every time I do a longer fast over 72 hours, it seems to get better after each one of them. Uh, Actually, quite a bit better, noticeably better. But I still only do about one fast a month.
That's awesome. So have you or your wife been back to your doctor, and are they having conniptions about what you're doing?
You know, I had planned on going back to the doctor and having my uh, blood done back in like January too, and I just haven't. Uh, More research and stuff that I found on the carnivore diet. Up to the first year, your markers are going to be all over the place because your body's healing. And then if you're actively losing weight, your cholesterol is going to be out of whack. So I've actually kind of made up my mind that when I get to the weight that I want to be at and settle out, and I'm not going to be losing anymore, I'm just going to be maintaining it. Once I get to that point, then I'll have my markers checked. Now, I I believe my wife is going to have hers checked again. She hasn't had it checked since January, but her continuous glucose monitor, the prescription for that should be coming up, so she'll have to have another visit with her doctor to do that, and hopefully she'll get her labs done and get the labs that we requested done, because there's not a doctor out there that will give you a fasting insulin unless you ask for it.
I
And
kind of feel, especially in your wife's situation, I kind of feel it'd be like one of these meetings with the doctor where it's, look, doctor, my A1C's, look how much it's dropped. And it's like, yeah, but look at your cholesterol.
Right? Yeah, and that's my cholesterol before carnivore was really out of whack. My triglycerides at one point were over 400, and I've had cholesterol readings, my total cholesterol. I've had those over 400 before, and my LDL and HDL have always been really out of whack. Um, so I've been prescribed statins a couple of times. I took statins for 2 weeks, and that was about all I could handle of it because for me that caused so much joint pain, I couldn't handle it, and I stopped doing that pretty quick. It was probably barely 2 weeks, and I gave that up. That's not going to happen with me.
Yeah, it's like there's that many side effects. It's, it's
Well,
not good.
and that was one of the things with my blood pressure medications too. Every one of them had a rare side effect of weight gain. I guess I was that rare one because I kept gaining weight. There's nothing I can do to lose it.
Right. Wow. So at this stage, do you feel like carnivore and fasting from time to time is the way you're going to go going forward?
Oh, absolutely. I've really gotten used to it. I mean, I enjoy steaks. I enjoy ground beef. Um, Brisket, man, I love a smoked brisket. And this summer I bought a smoker so I can smoke my own briskets now. So I've been doing that quite often. And, you know, I've learned how to cut up my own primal cuts of steaks or roast so I can get my own steaks and I can cut them up the way I like them. Um, I don't see another way of eating that would make sense to me. You know, I've had I recently we went out to a restaurant for my son's birthday. Um, had the bacon cheeseburger without the bun, without the condiments, and and the next day, both my wife and I felt like we got run over. We don't know what they were cooked in or what seasoning was actually in them. I've had issues with seasoning one other time. Shortly after I started carnivore, taco seasoning made me feel the same way. So yeah, there's some seasonings out there, some plants that just don't agree with me, and I won't do it again. Um, I just eat red meat.
It's a good
It's,
rule to have. Just eat red meat.
it is. I like to eat meat, be happy thing because that's what it takes.
Uh,
You know?
yeah. So if you were giving someone advice about starting carnivore, one of your friends comes to you and said, look, I need to lose some weight or I want to get off some of my meds. I'm going to try this for 90 days. How should I do it? What would you recommend for them to kind of see through that 90 days?
I would really tell them to get onto YouTube and look up the stories that you have on your channel, the stuff that Dr. Barry, um, Anthony Chafee, Sean Baker, um, all those people on YouTube that have been doing this for a while. Listen to what they're doing. Listen to what they say. The most important thing is listen to your body. Not everybody's gonna be like me that can jump into it and go straight carnivore on day one. Some people need to adjust to it and go in slow. But the biggest thing is give up the plant, give up plants, give up the seed oils, give up your carbohydrates. There's not a single carbohydrate that is essential for life. What is essential is the amino acids and stuff that are in red meats and the fat that come with the red meat. You have to have that. So um, listen to your body. Drink electrolytes if you need them. If you're cramping, you need electrolytes. Um, Eat plenty of animal fat. The ground beef, the 70/30, is about right for the fat. A ribeye steak, if you put it into a uh, macro counter, you'll find that it has about 75% of your calories come from fat and only 25% come from the protein. And for most people, that's about perfect for what your body needs. Your body uses that fat that's in that the saturated fat for all the hormones and all the building blocks that your body needs come from that. And the better you hit your fat, the better you're going to feel.
I think the biggest hurdle for most people to get over would be kind of getting over that low fat mindset, right?
And that's been so ingrained in everybody, and including me when I was losing weight before and I was working out every day. It was a low fat, um, low red meat, high vegetable, high plant diet. And, you know, 10 years later, I find out that if I'd have just ate that steak, if I'd have just ate the ground beef and left the plants alone, I'd have been much better off. I might not have had heart surgery. So I know I gave up coffee too. That was one of the last things I gave up to get rid of all my aches and pains. And I only gave it up for about 8 months. I found that the coffee I was drinking, the brand I was drinking, has something in it that my body doesn't like. I have found another coffee that I can have 1 or 2 cups in the morning and I don't have pain from. But the coffee I used to drink did not like me either.
What,
So
just out of interest, what prompted you to try it again?
the smell, at work, the where my desk is, it's close to the coffee pot. So the guys make coffee, and I was like, man, I'm gonna try this here. And the brand that they made, I was all right with. And I had a cup of coffee, and I didn't hurt. I was like, I can get back into this here. And then it's not a very expensive brand either. It's actually a pretty common brand in the grocery stores. Um, but I also found another one at a specific coffee shop that I can like, and I'm lucky that I can have that one too. So there are actually two different ones. We've had other ones at the office here in the last since I started drinking coffee again. We had another one that I had 1 cup of coffee, and by noon I could feel the tightness in my shoulders and stuff coming back, and I was like, nope, I'm not going to be drinking that one anymore.
So, this is just another point. It just goes to show that you can be very in tune with what's going on in your body as long as you cut all the crap out. The problem is that
Absolutely.
we go through life, we're just doused in toxins 100% of the time. So you would have no idea that that particular feeling you're having is coming from this thing.
Right. The average person right now has so much inflammation in their body that they don't know what it's like not to have it. And the carnivore diet's an elimination diet. You eliminate everything that's bad for you, and once you get to your baseline, which can take 30 to 90 days, once you get there, if you want to introduce other foods, you can. I know if I introduce something at night, the next morning I will feel the difference. And that's happening with that taco seasoning. Happening with the burger I had the other day at the restaurant. I mean, the next morning I knew that wasn't good for me. You know, with the coffee is the same thing. I had it in the morning, and by the afternoon I could feel the effects of the coffee on me. But before, I'd had never felt any of that. I had never known that. certain vegetables are extremely bad for your body and cause pain. Your body was just so inflamed all the time. Well, my body was telling me this because my blood pressure was so out of whack. So I just didn't,
Y-
recognize the signs.
You just don't read it because you kind of think, well, I'm getting older, so of course my body's going to start feeling like a rusty bicycle that's been in the rain outside for 3 years, you know?
That's exactly what it is too. Um, I I'm 58 years old now, but I feel better now than I did when I was in my late 20s. I The way I feel my body, my muscles, my joints, I feel better than I did in the past 25 years.
That's awesome. So Lance, if people want to reach out to you, how can they find you on YouTube?
Well, North Dakota Carnivore is my YouTube channel. I do about a video a week. Nothing near as what you're doing, and hitting that 1,000 videos is awesome. That's, and your 100,000 subscribers, congratulations on that. That was
Thank you.
amazing. And but on North Dakota Carnivore on YouTube. I do post some stuff on X. Lance O on X is where I can be found there. I don't really do a whole lot on Facebook though, or Instagram or anything like that. I just basically on YouTube, I do some stuff like this. I do my own experience and what I've been going through, and then on X, I just chat with people. And any video I do on YouTube, I put it on X also.
Yeah, no worries. I'll link to your YouTube and your X in the show notes. Um,
Yeah,
Thank you so much for coming back on, Lance, and letting us know how things are going. I really appreciate your time.
no problem. I appreciate it, Dave.
Tom, how did you find Carnivore?
I was
All right, so that was my interview. I did the other day with Dave Mack. It just went live a little bit ago this morning. If you've been on carnivore for any amount of time and you've had issues where like me or like a lot of the other people have, and you haven't told your story yet, I'd encourage you to get a hold of Dave. See if Dave can get you on. Your story may touch somebody, and you may help somebody else to do the same thing. So that's pretty much all I had for this morning. You all have a great day, and we'll talk to you again later.